and welcome to the first Mission Momentum of 2022. Thank you for joining me. And this is going to be the first of a series that I will do at different points throughout the year that I'm calling Get to Know the Community, which is our opportunity as a St. Joseph's community to get to know people who are doing good work around us in the Portland area and around the campus. And so today I invited Zoe Zalhul to join us. I met Zoe actually last summer when we had a Vista volunteer who was setting up meetings for me and for Kimberly Post, a few others, just to meet some of the organizations in the area to find out the work they were doing and hopefully make better connections between St. Joseph's and these organizations as a matter of support. And that's how I met Zoe. And then during the summer when they hosted one of their events out in Westbrook, went out to join the event and meet her in person. And since then, also St. Joseph's has hosted an event for the New England Arab American Organization, which we did on campus last semester. It was a bystander training. So welcome, Zoe. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being patient through all the glitches here. Why don't we just start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself before we even talk about the organization?
Yeah, of course. So thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I had to meet Chris. It was that, like, again, as Chris mentioned, that it was through a different meeting for refugee and immigrant. And then I was impressed with the presentations that Chris did at the time. So a little bit about myself is that I immigrated to outside of my country. I'm originally from Lebanon. I immigrated to Canada first. I lived there a little over 4 years, had my first kid. And then I came to United States to work in Maine, actually, for SAPI as a Canadian consultant. So I came to Maine, and right away, I was able to see the difference in the treatment of, me having this very thick accent and treating my kid at the time to feeling welcomed. So what we did is that we checked with the organization, and they said, if you want, we can do your paperwork and you can stay here. And without really hesitating, we sold our house in Canada and we became a resident of Maine. And we've been here for 23 years now in Maine, same area, everything. Back home, I survived through the war in Lebanon. So the war started, I was 7 years old. It ended, I was 27 years old. So I really went through whatever you can imagine, from the building where my parents used to live falling on us as we are escaping the building, to hearing all kind of, guns, of missiles, of explosions, everything that you can imagine. And unfortunately, for me, I knew it was not my place. So you become really voiceless, and you train yourself to appreciate every day or every minute you are still alive. So when the war ended, this is when my husband and I decided to leave. And we said, there is no way for us to have a family and have them survive same of what we did. And together we started our journey, and we're still together. So my husband is my 7th grade sweetheart that I met at school. Still together. You're on mute, Chris.
So you immigrated to Canada first, right? And then you came to Maine. When did you come to Maine?
1997, November 22nd, 1997.
Okay, and what was because you work in, you were the founder and executive director of an organization, whose purpose is to create a welcoming environment for new immigrants, asylum seekers and whatnot. What was the landscape in Maine like at that time when you arrived? Were there organizations like this to help you welcome you to Maine?
Not really. There were not a lot of immigrants at that time. Like there were some, but not as much as we're seeing now. At that point, like for me, to have my neighbor ask me about how to pronounce correctly my son's name was, like a huge deal. Like my son's name is Khalid, which is, so we write it with a K. So everyone calls him Khalid. And my neighbor really wanted to learn how to say it and pronounce his name correctly. Again, at that point, like we used to see like some immigrants, but not as much. I remember, like I believe in 2010, this is when we started seeing a lot of people, especially from Iraq. And this is how I decided to start the organization to try to give a hand to others, same way as others gave me a hand. And it was through my neighbor, my friends that I made through the journeys that made the journey a lot more easier on us and make us feel at home instead of feeling you're a guest all the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you were, is it, in reading your biography, before you founded the organization, you were president at the Maine Immigrants' Right Coalition, is that correct?
Yeah. So I was part of different organization actually after I started the
Oh,
organization. So 2010, like I'm a person really hands-on. This is how my personality is. So 2010 till 2014, I worked as an interpreter with the community, with the Arab community. So what I did is that I started going with different providers to the hospitals, to their homes. And I noticed that there is a lot of isolation, a lot of similar issues that's going around from one family to the other to the other. So I started doing like a log or data collection. After every meeting, I'll go out to my car and say, a family of five. Father is very, very sick. Mother is very sick. Kids skipping school to interpret. And I put it as a note. Kids sick, kids not speaking English, and so on. And this is how I started knowing the need that there is a big need in the community. And 2014, I started the organization, and when I did this, like a year after I joined the MERC, which is Maine Immigrant Rights Coalition, and it was not at that time a 501c3. I worked with a different committee to work on making it 501c3, and I was a president for a period of time of that organization.
okay. And so the NEO started in 2010, correct? So to hear you correct?
2014,
Okay.
2000, yeah. So 2010 to 2014, I was working with the community, but not officially as an organization leader.
Okay. So what kind of activities, programs, services does NEO provide?
So we have like really an array of services, and really with a mission to help ease the integration of Arab immigrants into the Arab society and bridge the gap between the culture. Like we believe that it's a two-way street, and we try to work with all of our programming to make it a two-way street. So we have English and citizenship classes. We have women's empowerment group, job training certification. We have youth leadership. We have a very big group, which is Together Connected, our Arabic school. And we have this year 86 students, and this is hosted at the middle school in Westbrook. And also Together Home is Here, which is our mobile RV that we go from one area to another, in addition to other cultural programming that we do.
And from what countries have they arrived? Like the families and the communities you serve?
So we try to focus mainly because we know the language on people that speak same language. We focused on that before, but now we're really like widening our services. So mainly the peoples that we serve, they used to come from Iraq. We have from Jordan, Sudan. We have a lot. We have also Palestinian. We have a couple of families from Lebanon. We have Syrian, especially also after the war in Syria. And now we started looking into helping definitely and giving our services to the people coming from Afghanistan.
So, what have you found to be the biggest misconceptions that people have about the Arab community here in Maine?
So again, like a lot of myth going around, like unfortunately, like the biggest thing, and this is where we try to bring people together. So again, before the pandemic, we used to have like gatherings. Sometimes we'll have 450 people coming together, and we put them on purpose, like people from the host community with other families, only to get to know each other, and for us to really break that conception, and especially this one, that people coming from the Arab community, first, they're not all Muslim. Second, even, that like, and also they're not terrorists. So again, like this is something that we are asked over and over about that. Like really, like again, I am Muslim myself, and I'm proud to be Muslim. But again, like Islam really is totally against violence. And the way I was raised back home with my mom, like she really gave us the choice. She said, here is your religion, but I want you to be introduced to other religion too. So most of my mom's friends during the war were Christian. So I grew up like going to church, going celebrate Christmas. Like I celebrate Christmas every year with my kids, and I'm proud of it. We used to go to Easter with a long candle because I was too tall at that age, like 13 years old, holding a candle. This is how we used to go to church in Easter. And my mom said, all religion, and this is what I gave for my kids too. All religion leads to one thing, is that kindness, love, God, whatever you want to call it, it's all same thing. And it does not matter if you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, they all lead to same road. So this is how I was raised. This is how I raise my kids, and this is how I believe.
Mm-hmm. I think when I first met you and we talked, you also mentioned that um, frequently people will see members of the Arab community here with us and who are Muslim, who are wearing a hijab, for example, and people will think, well, they're here in America here, they don't have to wear that anymore, as if that's not a choice for them to wear. So could you address that for us in terms of the kind of some cultural dimensions of Islam? Perhaps it would help us better understand the community.
Yeah. So again, to have the hijab on, the veil on, it's a choice that a woman uh, can take. I chose not to put the veil on, not to put the hijab on, but this does not mean that, okay, they're forced to have it back home. And now because they are in the United States, they should take it off. If they choose, some of the young women that we work with, they want to show that I choose, this is my choice, and I respect it. And I want everyone to see me the way I am. And this is like they identify with the veil. So again, it's a choice. It's if I show my hair, it doesn't mean that I'm less in my beliefs than another woman who covers up. Again, it's a matter of what you believe in, how you can show your kindness, your love to others, and again, not hurting others. So, for example, again, like only to give an example about the religion, like, like part of Islam is to do fasting. So we have a full month every year to do fasting, where we stop eating from sunrise. I'm sorry, we stop eating and drinking from sunrise all the way to sunset. We can eat whatever we want after sunset. But in a way, like in the religion, it was for us to really feel the hunger of the less fortunate, for us to feel how much it hurts, how much it's difficult to really go through a day without eating. And this is how I was raised. Again, I took that from my mom, and I did the same for my kids, where my mom would say, we'll go and say, oh, I'm so hungry as a child. So she said, yeah, let us, at the end of the month, let us give more to the poor. So at the end of the month, we all collect our money and our, whatever our parents give us for Eid, which is a holiday after Ramadan, and we'll celebrate by giving that to the poor people, to the less fortunate. And this is also like something that a lot of our families do at the end of Ramadan, where we call it zakat, and they give to other people that are less fortunate to receive some help.
The other thing we talked about when I first met you was, the Portland gets most of the press as the hub for the arrival of immigrants and asylees, and because it's the largest city, and that makes sense, and there's many offices and services here.
Yeah.
But you mentioned to me that many of the families you serve have also started moving out into other regions in the area, right? So could you share with us a little bit about the families and where the communities where they're settling?
Yeah, definitely. So Portland, again, because there are, as Chris mentioned, there are so many organizations, so many resources. However, with time, it was too difficult to find affordable housing for new Mainers to be able to settle that. So now we started seeing a little bit more movement out. So at the time when we started the organization, we selected to locate in Westbrook because only one area of where housing, like a big area, was affordable housing. I believe, there are 176 apartments, and I believe 168 at that point were all filled with Arab communities because they could not find the affordable housing in Portland. Now we see them moving even further. We see a lot of movement to Biddeford, to Kennebank area, to York, south. Here going more north, we have in Augusta now more families are moving there, to Bangor, even to the Lakes region area. We have a couple of families in Naples. We have Wyndham, Gorham. So we started seeing people moving outside of their neighborhood where they used to select first.
Now, your work is also, I've been looking at your bio again, you've partnered with a number of organizations, with Family Crisis, with the Westbrook Police, the Westbrook Community Center, Westbrook School Department. How have you found the reception from these organizations and from the community in terms of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, like definitely there is ups and downs. And as a person who, as a person who is immigrant myself, like it's difficult to accept like the unknown until you know more about them. So for us, when we started doing like these series of educational series to know more their neighbor, to know more the need of the community, like we're feeling the more and more like a more inclusive environment, a more welcoming environment. Again, we're all looking for the well-being of the family, which is again the well-being of children, that they're gonna be part of the future of Maine, we're hoping. And again, we're all looking for the best for all of our children, not only the Arab community, all children, New Mainers or non-New Mainers. So for us, because a lot of the issues also, like we are figuring out and we're finding, is that not only New Mainers are having some difficulties, there are a lot of underserved communities that also can benefit when new efforts, new solutions is being provided for everyone in the community. So this is why, like the Westbrook Policing, Westbrook Community Center, City of Westbrook, they are very welcoming and to have new Mainers. Again, they bring new vibe to city. They bring they open up new businesses, they pay taxes, and they become part of the fabric of the community.
And how can we, that is, any one of us who are part of these communities, but also perhaps even St. Joseph's, what can we do to be a support to these communities and to the work that you do?
Yeah, again, like volunteer, for example, with nonprofit, get to know more. Like, for example, now the need is even bigger. We received like 200 different individuals from Afghanistan already, like in the past 2 months. More are coming in January, so the expectation is high. For us, again, like I want to go back to my story that, like, as a person who lived the war, like, we did not choose to live in this conflict. Like we, like I prefer having a very beautiful childhood instead of having my childhood lost and stolen from me. So now, again, like, how can we make their journey a lot easier? How can we ask them, like, even if you do not know the answer, ask people instead of be afraid of them. Like, they are, at the end, we're all human beings. Like, if you are, however, like, you are born in United States, unfortunately for us, we were born in different sides of the country. So make us part of the dialogue. If you have like an opportunity to like as you're doing now, Chris, like for us to really be part of sharing our knowledge or sharing our experience with others, for you to really come to our event, to our um, like different gathering. For example, we have a lunch every month, only women. And the reason why we do it is we want them to get to know their neighbors. We want them to get to know the community policing in a non-urgent way. So when I built, for example, a special relationship with a police officer who's a woman, I'm going to be more open to share struggles that I'm having with my neighbor, with my family member, with whoever, in case there is an emergency. Again, to be you know, all together and supporting each other. And definitely, that, like, if you can financially, definitely support us as a nonprofit or any other organization that you choose to do. Like for us, and again, my last word is that uh, sharing that we have like similar struggle. This is why Together Home is Here was awarded a national grant, because our latest survey that we did on children for summer camp showed that not only children from the New Mainers community have issues of not being able to enroll in summer camp, but a lot of other underserved or parents that are struggling financially. So what we did is that we get this RV, a 35 feet RV, that our plan was before the pandemic for us to go all around Maine to different counties, to areas where probably no one even dared to be there as immigrant, but for us to go there and offer children like possibility of having art, music, uh, learning new things, science with 4-H, and these partners to go and travel with us all around Maine. And again, we cannot do it alone. Like definitely we will look for interns, for volunteers, for people like you who are also interested in giving back to your community.
Great. Thanks. I'll open it up now to anyone who's here with us if you have any questions for Zoe. So who'd like to ask a question? Anyone? Yeah. Chris? Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Zoe. Thank you for your presentation. It's really helpful to get your perspective and learn through your experiences. And my question, since I work in human resources, is how is your organization helping any of these individuals with employment? And is that something maybe that we could partner on?
Of course, definitely. So what happened is that at the beginning, like probably like 4 or 5 years ago, we started looking into unemployment. So what happened, we have a very large number of community members that finished their education back home. We have doctors, we have engineers, we have judges, we have regular employees. Unfortunately, when they came to United States, their degree was not taken into consideration. So I know personally a doctor that I worked very closely with, who used to be a pediatrician back in Iraq, who worked in cleaning when he came here. And for him, he said, "Well, I'm not going to be ashamed of anything as long as I'm being able to support my family." So now there is a big effort through the state officials and through different outlets to do the equivalency for their degree, to see how much it's equal to compared to a United States degree, and for us to work with these individuals on a special plan toward continuing their education and being able to work in other fields. But again, more and more people also are graduating from USM, from other colleges or universities. And definitely, if you want to share posting that we can share with them, would be more than happy to do that. Definitely. And would be proud to partner with any opportunity like that.
That's wonderful. And I'll be in contact with you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Looking forward for that.
Yes.
Anyone else? A question for Zoe? Yes, Jackie. You're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you. Hi. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presentation as well. Do you find with the mix of immigrants that you work with that any of the political issues that created the conflicts in those nations that they're coming from, do you find some of that is coming with them and creating new conflict in America?
Like I want to be honest, like sometimes it does happen. But again, when I said like two-way street, the education is two-way street, is that some of these people, like first of all, a lot of the newcomers are very well screened. So people that are here, they are safe to be here. They're not like people who used to kill others and so on. But sometimes the conflict, the way it happens, let's say, for example, and I'm not like that. I'm going to give myself as an example, but please, I'm not like that. So let's say I raise my son or my daughter back home, and as a way of disciplining, I used to hit them, for example. Now let's say in Iraq or in other areas, in Syria or other countries, sometimes these ways of disciplining is acceptable. However, it's not acceptable here. I work with women that unfortunately thought that domestic violence is part of life, which is, this is not true. So what we do is that we also educate them. We tell them about their rights. We tell them that if you do this, you used to do this back home, this is illegal here. And if you want to avoid getting in trouble, this is what you need to do. So, and it goes all the way from simple, like again, things can happen only because you don't know about it. Like, again, like a funny example I always share is that in some countries, it's okay if you own two cars to use a plate of one car on another. So one 18 years old who did not know that thought, oh, that's my dad's car. I'm going to take his, and he put it, and he was arrested for it. But, you know, again, when they shared this story, like he was given a warning. But again, like we laughed so much on this, but only because they did not know better. So, but again, their people coming are very safe. They want to have a future for their kids. And again, I want to repeat like my story. Like now, I used to love learning, or I used to dream to learn one day how to dance ballet. And every time when we had power, if there is something like that, my mom would say, when the war ends, we're gonna go and do it. And guess what? I never had chance. So now my daughter, I had the opportunity, and I'm grateful for it, to put her, and she's on point now. She's almost 18. And really, with every move, with every jump she does, like my heart goes with her, and I see my dreams through my kids now. So again, like this is a simple example. And I know most of these families, all of them, are coming here to find a better future for themselves.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What have you found to be the biggest challenges for these families, for the communities or the families that come here in terms of getting settled, acclimated to their new life here?
Yeah. So again, like I came here to Maine. I had work. I had everything set up. So the main choice, the main challenge is that when new Mainers come, they have a specific budget to find affordable housing, to have their furniture, to settle in. And then the struggle starts. So we're always counting on others. So if they don't know how to drive, they need to have a license, they need to have a car. And again, you can imagine that. Let's say if you can imagine yourself living in a place where you cannot go out, or you don't know where to go. If your child is sick, or if there is something that you are afraid of, maybe back home, again, like very similar to what you mentioned, Jackie, is that the other way around. Maybe back home, if I call police, whoever is going to come is going to hurt my family. Now, I don't know if I'm going to call police if they're going to come and hurt my family. So these are the things that we feel that they struggle the most, is to start trusting the environment and the community they live in. And the more we can build this relationship, the more we can allow our families, our new families, to live, happily, to feel that they are supported, and to feel that this is a place I can call home, because this is what we're looking for in a home, in a country. Like for me, I look back at my country, Lebanon. I say, what this country gave me? Nothing. It took away my whole childhood, my dreams. But I came here. I have beautiful family. I have everything that I worked hard for and I can see the fruit of. I have three beautiful children that they are all educated, and and I live in a very safe place. And I think most of us, this is what we're looking for. But I wouldn't be able to do it all alone without the support of my friends. That actually, one friend that um, she's the one who really made the big difference for me, that I feel she's even closer to me than a sister, who her mother was the grandmother who read books for my kids when it was Grandmother's Day. So these relationships that you look at and say, this is my family, this is my home, and I will never change, that or exchange living in Maine to anything in the world. So
Makes me think of the quote from E.B. White, right? I'd rather feel bad in Maine than good anywhere else.
yeah.
Any other questions, comments for Zoe? Yes, Leslie.
Hi, this has been an amazing presentation. Thank you. I'm wondering how people as individuals can contribute. Is there any way that you can think of off the top of your head? I know communities can as well, but
Yeah, like you can, depending on how you're looking, if you're looking to contribute like financially, like to give money, there are again different organizations that you can donate to, and they're all very, very good organization. We're all working very hard into doing this work. If you are looking into donating, let's say furniture, there are also other organizations that are working on organizing that. So, for example, if you're looking for a NEO, you can donate on our website and you can specify, I want this to be used for XYZ, whatever you select in the program that we offer. And definitely we'll do that according to your wishes.
Thank you, Leslie. Anyone else? Yeah, Chip.
I'm not sure I have a question so much as a comment. And again, thank you, Zoe. This is great. But I guess one of the things when I encounter somebody who has immigrated to the U.S., I often feel sort of like a combination of admiration and discomfort because I'm a white male who grew up in the U.S. There's no more privileged creature than me. And when I look at immigrants and I look at, I mean, what must it have been like for you to give up everything to move your family to another country where you've never been for a better life? I'm just sometimes overwhelmed, and I don't know how to. I guess I'm sometimes intimidated. And like I said, I don't know that I really have a question other than I just wanted to. I've had that sense for quite a while, and I often don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. Like, definitely, what you can do. Like again, I'm a person who is very peaceful. Like, I know now, like a lot of talk about, like privilege or white privilege or, and I'm not saying that there are injustices and inequalities in the world, but I think this is more, and there are better ways to resolve it through dialogue, through us coming together and hearing each other. And what a better way, for example, for you to say, okay, I know this person who I respect their journey. I respect that they love their family and went through no one knows probably. Uh, and for me, I know that I was privileged. And even if you can be giving these people like one word of kindness a day, even by saying hello to them, this is like opening the door for more kindness in the world. And I believe like for me, this is what I look for every day. And believe me, like even in our kind of work, because we hear all of these stories, like some are very, very difficult to go through. And for me, the payback is to give a smile every day on someone's face. And for me, this is a success. And I celebrate that every day. And again, for us to look at, maybe you can read the book for someone who does not know how to read. Like again, like for example, for us, we used to do a lot of, at the beginning when we first started our woman empowerment group, we used to pass these quotes, like beautiful quotes in Arabic, and it wasn't only not having it in English. It wasn't because of English as language as a barrier. Some of the women that we worked with did not have even the privilege to go to school and learn how to read and write even in their own language. Like for me, when I looked at that, it was, oh my gosh, like what can I do to make it different? Now we use art, we use songs, we use music to empower them with it. And I'm telling you this because like a word, or let's say if you read to someone who does not know how to read, like this is the biggest gift that they can imagine to have.
And I'll add that if you go to the website, which I posted the link here, you'll see they have a section with events and programs, so people can look them up and see if there's something you might either just want to show up for or participate in, or add your add some volunteer time to it to help out. And I think that's a real good note to end our conversation on. So Zoe, thank you very much for making
Oh,
time for
thank
us, for
you.
joining us today, for sharing your not only the work, the great work you're doing here, but your story and how your story is part of your work. It's very inspiring.
Thank you. Thank
I
you
should
for
tell-
having me, and nice to meet you all.